Tommy Robinson is threatening to sue GBNews, and it's all a result of an interview that Rees Mogg had with a man called Ajmal Masroor, an Imam of a mosque, a series of mosques in London, one of which is Palmer's Green, which Tommy Robinson points out is a mosque that has been visited by the Mayor of London. Well, I trust the Mayor of London visits every significant religious building across London. If he doesn't, he should. And singling out one particular mosque because it's associated with somebody who's a little misdirected is not an example of Islamist behavior or Islamism and tolerating that or encouraging that. So I think that's a little bit far of the mark. But of course, in Tommy Robinson's diatribe against GBNews, which he's put out, that is referenced. The actual interview, this man Masroor makes the most extraordinary allegations, and it goes back to the Remembrance Day meeting, and the people gathered together in the pub and arrests in various places. As far as I remember, the arrests were indiscriminate and were made not because people had been violent, but to stop people being violent. And I think I flagged up these arrests as rather inappropriate at the time. I also flagged up the fact that I thought Tommy Robinson behaved very well. The whole thing was recorded by Maya Tusi, and there's no evidence at all that Tommy Robinson behaved in a bad way. No matter what one may think otherwise of Tommy Robinson, that particular day he was well behaved. He left early. There were some arrests that took place, but certainly not Ajmal Masroor claims a huge number of arrests, and he also claims that petrol bombs were thrown. It's simply not true, and the evidence is there. And this sort of immature slander it doesn't advance the case for tolerance, and it certainly doesn't advance the case for sorting out London. I think it's quite true, and who is it now? The fellow at the centre of this storm, Lee Anderson, said again on GBNews to Patrick Christus that he said he talks about his clumsy expression, but he says the Lord Mayor, the Mayor is not in control of London. Now I think that's reasonable. I think that's a reasonable statement. London is not in control. And London doesn't seem to me to be a very happy city at the moment. It's the streets are very empty. If you want a taxi, you can't get a taxi because the taxis have been reduced. In COVID, people just gave up driving taxis, and many of them not come back to work. What is the point? And it's that sense of despair which permeates London, rather than a sense of a takeover by some particular group, whoever that may be. I don't think there are no-go areas in this country. And I've been to many areas and I just walk through them. And I do get stopped, but mostly I get stopped because people um, recognize me from either the circle or from YouTube, and I'm very grateful. It happened yesterday, oddly. Somebody recognized me, and I realized he must have been about 8 years old when he saw the circle. So that's very gratifying. But Tommy Robinson, to get back to Tommy Robinson, should Tommy Robinson attack GB News? Well, we come down to Jacob Rees-Mogg. Now, Jacob Rees-Mogg is very good doing the auto cues. He's very good with his speeches. He's not so good with his interviews. His interviews, he doesn't seem to know when to cut in. He either cuts in over somebody else and doesn't really allow them to speak at all, or he doesn't say anything. And in this case, he allowed this man, Ajmal Masroor, to rant against Tommy Robinson, despite the fact that the evidence clearly points in the other direction. And I think Tommy Robinson has a reason to be annoyed. I'd love to know what you think. I'd love to know if you saw that exchange. And as I say, I don't think it matters one way or the other what you think of Tommy Robinson. It's about, and I don't think it really matters that much one way or the other what you think of GB News. It's about the way we conduct debates. Do you interrupt when there's interesting stuff going on and when there's a clear exchange of minds, or do you interrupt when the information which is coming out is factually wrong? And if you don't interrupt when something is factually wrong, I'm afraid you're complicit. Maybe you don't know. Maybe Jacob Rees-Mogg just isn't interested. That's a possibility. In which case, maybe we need to know that. You can't be interested in everything. You can't be briefed about everything. There are some holes in your knowledge. There's plenty of holes in my knowledge. But it leaves a very, very unpleasant taste in my mouth.